Welcome to another episode of the story behind their sin, the story behind our sin, the story behind his sin. On this episode and in this series, we take our time to learn about successful people who may or may not be popular. It's not about the popularity, but it's about them being successful on their journey and learning about how they have become this person that is such an inspiration to society and to the world at large. And today we have Oba Music, and we're going to be joined in by her now.
Thank you so much, Oba, for choosing to be here.
Clearly?
Yes, we can see now
Okay.
clearly. Yes.
All right. Good.
Thank
Good.
you. I'm
Good.
so excited. Let us go right into your profile, and then we
Okay.
would pick it up from there.
Let's
Bamike
go.
Bamike Adeyemi believes in the power of words. As a musician, speaker, author, mentor, and thought leader, Oba is a master communicator. She has witnessed the capacity for words to dictate visions, break barriers, and bring healing and true transformation through our various multidimensional expressions. Our vocal dexterity and depth of insight as a musician and thought leader makes her a formidable force to reckon with in the music arena in Nigeria and globally. She's a certified coach, speaker, trainer with the John Maxwell team, and a certified persuasion expert from Rendsburg Institute of Management. She holds a certificate of relationship coaching and marriage at the Marriage Mentor Institute of Marriage and Family Affairs USA, TIMFA. She's also an alumnus of the Data Executive Leadership Academy. OBA, or OBA as it is popularly called, combines our multiple grace to bring transformation and healing as she stirs an awakening in our audience. She is also the founder of the Bamike OBA Mentoring Academy, an online learning hub for creatives, singers, musicians, songwriters, choreographers to build capacity and impact others and model transformational leadership among creative souls. Thank you so much, Oba, for choosing to be here. Just like
Thank you
I
so.
said to you in
Thank you.
person, your songs have really touched me. And
Thank
where
God.
where still sounds in my head. There was a time where was my alarm.
Mm.
Literally, it was because it is the kind of song I want to wake me up, not noisy song, or not even whatever it is they put in the phone, which is okay. But just
Mm.
waking up to that sound, the one you sang with Nathaniel Bassi, Lord help me walk with you. That
Oh wow.
song also is really, yes. No, that's
Uh,
your like that album. I can't wait for you to when you finally put it out on YouTube again. Of course, people do not know we think it's a new song, but literally it's kind of like a new song, but it's an old song, but it's
yeah.
still new every day. And I thank you for all everything that you have done so far, which is why I am personally so inspired to have
Thank
you
you.
on the NEL
Thank
Show.
you. Thank you so much for
So get
having me.
right. Yes, thank you. Then, so we'll go right to. We want to know the story behind your sin, and we want to
Uh,
start out with what's growing up was like before Oba became this person that she is today. Let us start with Oba's growing up. When did Oba grow up? How was growing up like for her? And everything in between. What
okay.
school did you attend and all that?
Okay. Of course, I know that I'm a storyteller. Um, I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna go ahead and shoot. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I can see my people already joining this conversation. I want to appreciate everybody. Yes, and thank you, Nkechi, Emmanuel Larity, for this opportunity. Okay, my story. My growing up. Um, yes, I grew up in in a large family. I'm the firstborn of about 8 children. I'm from a polygamous home. My mom is the first wife. And then growing up, like I wrote in my second book, the memoir, Bamike, a memoir. Growing up, of course, my parents were not musicians, but they were more. My dad was musically inclined, and as a result, you know, in the house, music was always playing in the background and all that and all that. And so, like the average family, we're just normal family, like everyday life. I was a tomboy way in school. I think I still have that tomboyish element, even even still there. Growing up was beautiful. Yes, of course there were growing challenges, but then looking back at my childhood, I'm glad that I went through all that I went through. Yes, I was stubborn. I didn't want to, you know, I was a tomboy. I would, you know, for a long time, I defined myself as a tomboy. Thank God for growth. And yes, what else can I say about my growing up? Yes, I guess that was it. Those were my formative years, and I also thank God for my dad, who was not just my father, but was like a coach to me as well. And I'm grateful for the upbringing. My dad had has always had has always had when you both come and come learn about English is not my mother tongue. A lot of people think no English by the thing is we give it to come learn. You know. Growing up with so much low self-esteem, even though I was in the top 3, top 4 brightest minds in class from primary to secondary, I still had so much of low self-esteem, all those inferiority complex. You know, I was battling with that in the home front and also in school, because it felt as if well, what was projected to me or what I perceived was that my younger ones were much more preferred than I was, even though I was brilliant, even though I could, and then I was athletic at the same time. So yes, very much, yeah. Now I'm remembering my childhood. You know, I was very athletic. I was very even intelligent wise. I was among the top 5 from primary to secondary level. I mean, the top 5 people in class. You will see my name there, and on the track. Here. I think she's.
No, I'm here, ma.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Okay. I
There
can
was
hear
an
you.
interruption. Okay. I was an
So
interruption, but I can hear you now.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, but I struggled with those negative vibes, low self-esteem, inferiority complex, because number one, I'm the shortest in my family, amongst my siblings, even till now. Even my children are far taller than me now. You know, and so you know that had an effect on me. But thank God for my dad, who at a pivotal point in my teenage years stepped in and then began to just encourage me. He was the first person to introduce me to transformational leadership with the book from Norma Vincent Peale, The Power of Positive Thinking. And that began my journey into really wanting to be more than what I was then. Yeah. And so I got into the university after so much stress and struggle, a kind of thing, and then got into the university in 1993, and then another journey, another season unfolded, and another journey. That was the beginning of my journey into my God-ordained destiny and assignment. And it was in the university that I was commissioned. It was in the university I got into a love relationship with the Lord Jesus. And then, yes, and since then, through the encounters I had on campus. That was a whole new story, another new story on itself, you know. But then my university journey, my young adult journey, you know, prepared me for where I am right now, and I give glory to God. And so, yeah, that's about that, about my growing days. If you want to know more about that, you just go check Amazon for my book Bamike, a memoir. You will get to read a lot of stuff about me there. Okay, so I hope I did small justice to that.
Yes, thank you so much for taking us through the journey and, of course, referring us to your memoir where we can even read more about you. So I would like you to please, because you spoke about how even though your parents were not musically inclined, especially your dad, but there was that sort of atmosphere and environment in a way from what you shared that's prepared your music background. Could you talk to us specifically about that? What were those? What kind of songs? What kind of music used to be played? And at what point did you start knowing that, oh, there's something that connects with me, with what it is that I'm hearing, and how did you start to manifest that?
Like I said, my dad, you know, maybe he would have been a musician, maybe, but his love for music is just out of here. And so we wake up to songs, and then we go to bed with songs. So from the Good Women Choir, Mrs. Fashoyin, to Bola Are, then to Sonny Okosons, then from another time you're hearing Dauda Ekwakara, Ayinla Omowura, Barista, Colinton, and then you're hearing Salawa Beni on one side, and then the Lijadu sisters, Bongos Ikwe. So it was a fusion, was a potpourri of music, you know, all around. Bongos Ikwe, then Mariah Jaws. I mean, it was just a flavor. The flavor was just, it was complete. It was awesome music. So you're talking about Christian music. It was there. You know, we could listen to Bola Are from evening. We could listen to the Mrs. Dio Fashoyin and the Good Women Choir. We could listen to quite a number like that. Then Bongo Zikwe was there. And then if you want, there's Sonia Day. Oh my God. At some point in secondary school, because I've always been journaling way from when, as far back as I can remember. And I remember writing, I can still journal from secondary school, maybe I was like 13, 14. And I wrote that I wanted to be a medical doctor and a musician at the same time. And I said I wanted to just be like Sonia Day on stage. Sing Sonia Day with the guitar and the dancing. And that was just like, come on. I just want to be this I just want to be this person on stage. Then fortunately or fortunately, doctor, but somehow, even with the ministry and the assignment that God has given me, there is a healing grace with my assignment, and so there is that healing, and then there is a depth of wisdom, because those are the two things that really makes me stand out in my assignment, and so that was really so strong with my music influence. So I got and then we were attending CAC Agbalagba Olorun Kibati, and way back then my church was known for music. The Christ Message Ministry was a strong music ministry of the CAC Agbalagba Olorun Kibati way back then, and so just going to church and just music everywhere. In Sunday school, I was in the forefront of music. In fact, I was drafted from the Sunday school choir into the main church choir as a very, and I started leading songs and all that. And you know, it was just so I knew that okay, there was no way I was running from this. Even though I didn't fully understand what it was then, but I knew that it was a safe place for me to be. Music everywhere. I was hearing it. Oh, and then, of course, my next door neighbor, who were like big uncles to us at home. Then you're hearing Michael Jackson. You're hearing the Commodores, you're hearing, what's his name? A lot of them, New Edition, a Tribe Called Quest. I can go on and on. I mean, it was just like I was just thrown into a world where music left, right, and center. So if you're talking about the music of the 80s and the 90s, it was playing in my next door. Once we come back from school, we've done assignment, we just move to the next flat, and then we're just dancing. Let's go dancing. Then we're doing all of that. You know, Michael Jackson, beat it, beat it, beat it. You know, and all of that was just going on. Diana Ross, it was Donna Summer. I mean, New Edition, Musical Youth. The other day, I have two young adults in the house and a small boy. And then the other day, they just discovered New Edition, I mean, Musical Youth. And then come and see the nostalgia with my husband and I, like, these are the songs so it's been, music has been a major part of my journey, and I'm really, really grateful for that, because it is what is preparing me even for the next phase of the things that I'm on, you know, that is unfolding in my journey, you know, here and hereafter. Yeah.
Okay. So from what you've shared now, you like you said, you got into the choir, even from Sunday school. You were even moved to the main choir at an early age. Did you know at that particular time that this was something that I was going to do as a lifelong assignment, even though, of course, you were still going to do other things? Or for you at that time, you just saw it as serving?
I just saw, at that time, I saw it as serving. I thought that, okay, most of my friends are, you know, you're either in the drama group or you're in the music group. So in school, I was in the literary and debating society, because I knew that there was a part of me that had and still has public speaking and, you know, teaching. You know, it was part of my wiring, and so I was exposed to those platforms early. But then I didn't see it as something that was going to do for the rest of my life. It was just like, okay, we'll do medical doctor. If I'm not a medical doctor, I'll be an engineer. If I'm not an engineer, I'll be a medical doctor. If I'm not a medical doctor, I'll be an engineer. So it was either that or that, you know. And then, of course, I will do music, because music, yeah, we'll do music, but it's not going to be like, okay. So I didn't see it as something I was going to do as a lifelong thing until I got into the university.
Okay. So I want to talk about, before I come back to music, this your engineering and medical doctor. Could you tell us a bit about it? Because in fact, you mentioned it many times in this interview. Is it that was something you wanted to venture into, or probably what you were even studying in school? Could you tell us how the love or quest for that started?
Because you know, I think because back then, when you say you're a medical doctor, there was this prestige, you know, kind of, because way back in the early 80s, when we were growing up, you're either a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer, something. So there was that, and I saw myself as like, okay, if I'm not, I would be a medical doctor. In fact, I was writing all through my secondary school, MBBS, Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery, because that was what I was seeing all the time. And then, you know, and then when jabbed me now, into the brain, and I was like, okay, what's the next thing I could? So, and because I'm science oriented, I got A1 in further maths. I mean, for crying out loud.
Wow! Wow!
You know, so okay, so either that or that. So, but I didn't get to the medical school. But then I got into I did electrical engineering. So I ended up studying electrical engineering at the end of the day, you know. But even that one said was just for studying sake, because we have not done anything with this since we came out. You know, so it was just like I mean, okay, if you ask me now, if I had an opportunity to go back and relive that, I won't even go into medicine. Neither will I go into electrical engineering. I would just go straight into creative art. Go straight into music. I mean, if it was now, I would be a Berkeley College graduate instead of just wasting my time. But because no experience is wasted, I am grateful for that journey. I'm grateful for that journey. I'm grateful for that journey.
Thank you for even answering ahead, because I was going to ask that, okay, do you still want to do anything in the medical space? But you already just answered that if you were to even go back. Okay, you want to talk about that? Okay.
Yes, because like I said, no experience is wasted. There's a particular space in the music music industry and ministry, if I can put it that way, and that's where I'm doing a lot of work right now to because there is a fusion of music and medicine. And so it's something I'm looking forward to venture into, even in the evening of my work here on this side of eternity present. As I'm transiting into a new season of legacy leadership, I'm getting into that space where using music and then medicine as a tool to bring healing to people. Yes, so there is still that element of medicine. There's still that element of healing, that is still unfolding. It's there, so there is an unfolding to it. It's a journey, and so yes, we're still going to have the marriage of music and medicine somewhere along the line. Yeah.
Wow, thank you for that, and we're looking forward to it. My next question is, we need to fast forward a bit, and if I need to backtrack, I will still let you know as well.
No problem.
At the time, because you are not just for those watching, OBA or OBA is not just coming out today, literally, because I know that a lot of people may have gotten to know you with the Natal Bansi and Chandler Moore song, for instance. But OBA, just like I said in the introduction, she has had album that was so good, classic music. At the time, it's recent times, maybe 5 years or so, that music has become a thing that people want to be associated with or people want to do for a living. I don't think in the last 10, 12, or 15 years it was like that. It's not something you go music, like people will look at you, do you want to be broke, or whatever biases that people have. No, it is so fancy, and I'm sure it's because of the work that people like you, Natal Bansi, a lot of the other musicians have done to make it, especially in the ministry space of music. Please tell us how you were able to continue or start into the kind of music you do now, apart from the stage of 7. First of all, when you started, how you were even able to get through, like your album now, my own favorite song, Where, how were you able to do all of those songs and come through that journey when music wasn't quite deep at that particular time?
All right, that's a very interesting question, and in answering, I will backtrack a bit. I remember while I was in the university, I had quite a number of challenges, even staying in school. But I thank God that those challenges were stepping stones, so to speak, for the journey that is ahead. I remember when I told my parents that I was going to do music, that this engineering I'm doing, I'm just doing it so that they will not say that I did not go to school. But once I collect the value, I'll just put it down. But this is a music. Music is what I was going to do, especially when, like I said, I got born again on campus. And in that encounter, as I began to seek to know the Lord more, I in my encounters with God, just going as early as 5 a.m. before getting ready to go to campus, as early as 5 a.m. I'm hiking on the mountain, go to the top of the mountain. I studied, I went to Ondo State University that was called University of Ado Ekiti. I think it's now called Afe Babalola or something. I can't even, the name has changed in about 5 or 6 years into my Kini. So I don't know the name now, but it's school is in Ado Ekiti. It used to be University of Ado Ekiti. I don't know what it is now. You know, and those days I would go up on the mountains, spend hours, you know, and then the dew of the morning. Those were my Christian formative days. And so I knew that, okay, that was when I knew that music ministry, music assignment was major in what the Lord had for me. And so it was through that encounter also that I got the name. My name Oba I was christened by God himself on the mountain, you know, as Oba. And I was like, where the word of the king? And you know, while I'm going back to the question, but while I was, you know, asking questions, and like, why would you say my name is Oba? In Yoruba land, Oba is for the king, and the king is male. So I will now come now and be saying, my name is Oba. They'll be like, Kukuru Sambe, you know, another. But you know, in the course of engaging in prayers and just conversation, the Lord gave me the blueprint for my assignment. This is why I'm calling you Oba. And then He proved it, and so I just had to begin to run with it. But when I told my parents that, okay, it's musical, hey, come and see what for years, my mom especially couldn't accept it. You want to be doing alagbe, you want to be broke all your life. I mean, how many musicians have you seen? What have they done? Like, well, I don't know, but this is what I know. And it was a struggle. I must tell you. I remember when I said earlier on, growing up, as a young girl, you know, dealing with low self-esteem and inferiority complex. And so when, you know, and I was like, okay, this is what I feel the Lord is telling me to do. I'm going to go into this full time. And then there's opposition even in the home front. It just crippled me. But that I made a resolve that, you know, I was going to stick to this and just see it through. And so when my first album came out, the other day, I've been doing some archiving work at the back end the other day, and I was just going through my archives, the songs, even the format with which my first album came out. Today, we don't have that format. It's hard for people. The people who are doing music now, they don't even know what that is. And I'm like, okay, auntie, you're old school, nobody uses the my first video, 2 videos that I did for one song for Nigeria. I did a song for Nigeria as far back as 2002, and then I did another song. The video format is in ADAT. They said I have to take that ADAT. I don't know if anybody is listening to me now. You know, people can convert such to MP4 or MP. They said I have to take it abroad, you know, for it to be converted, so you can know that it's something like a. It's kind of
wow.
Back to the question, staying true at that particular season when it didn't look like anything was difficult. But what made me stay true was the fact that I knew, you know, I was convinced beyond reasonable doubt that this was what I was meant to do. You know, it was even though it wasn't the only thing, because I remember in the commissioning I received while on campus, the mandate was to make a divine statement with an African signature. Hence the name Oba. So my name, I am Oba. Underneath it, I'm writing, making a divine statement with an African signature, because that was the blueprint. That was the template that was handed to me by God. That this is what you're going to do. And so sometimes when people ask me, this your Yoruba, did you study? I'm like, I did not study any Yoruba anywhere. It was just, it was as if a mantle rested on me, you know, for that expression, you know, and you know, and so, like I said, it was difficult, but the resolve and the conviction that, you know, this was what, this is my destiny. This is the work that I've been called to do. This is the assignment that I've been called to. The conviction helped me to stay through, even even in the midst of difficulties and challenges. I mean, I can't recount the number of times I'd had to tell God, "Oh, Baba, hold yourself. Oh, if this is if this is what it's about, I don't think I want to have anything to do with this, because man, number one, it's not putting food on the table. Especially when I now got married, and then my husband is also in the same field, and it's like, hey, well, God, I hope I'm not going to die alone in this journey, you know. And because way back then, the thing that I know now, if I had known them way back then, maybe it would have been a different case. You know, talking about music ministry, talking about music business, the business of music, talking about the heart, you know, and all of those things, you know, that are intricacies with music ministry and music industry, such that I thank God that I had to go through that to come to where I am today. So, that, you know, I now know better. And so it's easier to function because there's a level of, you know, knowledge, you know, and applicable knowledge that I have received now that is making the journey a little different from what it used to be. And that's not to say that I'm not there yet. You know, they're still bringing one baby, one baby, you know, you know. But I thank God, you know, I thank God that the conviction, the resolve and the determination that this is my life's call. This was what I was called to come and be on this side of eternity present, has kept me hanging in there. I've had a lot of my friends, old and, you know, those who knew when I started, and up to now, I was like, what kind of a human being are you? I mean, you're still in this. Someone will say, are you still singing? I said, what else will I do if I'm not singing? And then even now, it's becoming much more, even much more reward, fulfilling, because not only am I now singing, or, you know, blessing lives just through the ministry, you know, delivering counsel, but now, legacy leadership is now unfolding in terms of building the next generation, and that is the whole ball game itself, and I'm just super excited. So those things, those challenges have kept me because of that strong resolve that this is what I was called to do. That's what has kept me. That's what is still keeping me, because I know that sometimes there was a time when I went into sewing, into bead making, into cake making, you know, and it's just to make a body and sew, just to feed you and all that. But at the end of the day, these things won't satisfy, you know, until, so I had to just, this is what it is. It is what it is. These things will not, you know, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful to God, yes.
Wow. Thank you so much for taking us through that. Before I even ask the next personal question, I want to ask, what would you say now to anybody who find themselves in such situation? Maybe, they want to go through, especially those who are specific, who believe that they don't just want to do any kind of music. There's a kind of music that God has called them to do, but the world or the people are not accepting it as quickly. So therefore, it's not really bringing the reward of fulfillment. Especially in this social media age, what do you have to say to such a person? Because I know a lot of music people will watch this. What do you have to say to such a person in this day and age? How can this person, what advice would you give to a person in that situation?
Peradventure, there's someone who is listening or who's going to watch this replay, and you're in that space, you want to do music. First of all, music is universal. It's a universal language, and there is no Christian music. We're the ones that separate it. You know, like, this is Christian music, this is church music, this is secular music, and all. Music is universal, because and so for somebody who wants to do a particular kingdom music, you know, and say there's a way you can, I will tell the person, be sure, go back to your personal altar, go back to that place with God, and be sure and know beyond every reasonable doubt that this is what the Father wants you to do. And if you're sure and you step out, then know that God will fund whatever is going to sponsor whatever He has chosen you to do. It may not come in ways that you think you are expecting it, but God, you must see God as your employer. So you must see God as your employer, that the one who has called you, because we have been called, for the music ministers, for anybody who is a kingdom creative. We have been called to steward creativity in God's way, so that we can color the world beautiful. And so if you have been called to color the world beautiful with the creativity that God has given you, then you know that your reward and your applaud and your accolade is going to come from God. Now, it may not come when you want it, and you may not come when you want it, but it will come. So I would say to that person, especially now that things are even much more, with technology and all the rest of, there's so much that is available now that such person can latch on and be the best at. But before then, you must be your personal altar, you must know. You must know. You must be conveyed beyond reasonable doubt. It was Jesus that was saying, I've come as it is written of me in the volume of books. You must know what has been written of you in the volume of books. You must know. You must know the template. You must know the blueprint. You must have a template for your assignment. For somebody like me, there's a template for my assignment, and I say it anywhere that I am not a praise and worship singer. No, I'm not. At my core, oh, really, really and truly, at my core, I'm a neo soul jazz expressionist. What does that mean? The cool, jazzy, R&B mixture. You remember I said I grew up in a potpourri of music flavor. So those have been wired into my DNA. It wasn't coincident. It was intentional that I had to go through that channel, so that the expression of music that God has given me will have a little bit of here and there, and that's what makes my Afro, fusion, Afro neo soul. So when people say, what's my genre? I say it's a combination. It's a potpourri of Afro, Afrocentric, neo soul, jazz. There's a little bit of jazz, and then there's a whole lot of African, percussion and embellishment. That's why it says, make a divine statement with an African signature. So you must, those are the things that will keep you when trouble begin to blow, because trouble will blow somehow.
Yes.
Come somehow. Your conviction, your resolve that this is what I've been called to do is what's going to keep you afloat. Sometimes, God, if you don't hold that resolve, where we're going, if I want to jam you, but you will just know that. Just know that this too shall pass. These were the things that kept me going. I mean, after my first album in 2002, October, the other day I saw, I think it's even here. Let me even show you.
Sure. I want to see it.
This is me in 2002.
Wow.
This was the release of my first album in 2002. Look at it.
Wow.
Way back, and so it is your strong resolve, the conviction that you have been called into it, because many people are called by many things. Some people, it is their friends that call them. Some people, it is their some people, it is their church that call them. Some people, it is their husband that call them. If you know that you have been called to steward, the mind of God through music, then you must know that He's the one that is going to reward you. So your focus must be on Him when you're on the mountain or when you're in the valley. That's all that I'm going to say. And whilst you're there, make sure that you are equipping yourself. There is an equipping of the saints for the work of the ministry, doing the work of an evangelist, for you to be able to do the work, because that's what we are. There must be an equipping going on at different seasons of your life.
Okay.
You must be ready for equipping, whether spiritually, emotionally, maritally. There's an equipping because we must be thoroughly furnished to be able to deliver the master's work. Praise God. That's a good place to say praise God.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. And I'm sure that for generations that watch this, it will be definitely useful for them. Still on this conviction, before we move to another category, I would like you to please really share with us on what it is like to go through, because this even can apply to whatever it is you share with us, can apply to any industry, to go
Yeah.
through your life journey and life assignments without necessarily being seen publicly, but just continuing knowing that, okay, this will God's work for me.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I want to be, maybe I don't, in the music industry, I'm assuming now, you can correct me. I assume that anybody in the music wants to be called to perform, wants to be here and there, wants to be in different stages and places. Naturally, not even because of me, but because I want to show the world what it is that I carry. But
Yeah.
in the situation, how has that been for you through your journey? Because it started way back, just like you shared with us, through your journey of, well, not being known in quotes by so many people to where you are now. How were you able to be patient? Were there times where you fell up and stood up again? Please take us through that, because it is one of the
Amen.
most difficult things plaguing this generation, and people don't know how to handle it. They'll do anything to be known now. Whereas there's always a journey, just like we shared in previous conversations.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There were countless times of falling, throwing in the towel, saying, can we do something else? Because this ain't paying. And the truth of the matter is that go pay. It wasn't paying at some point. No, I mean, call a spade a spade. And I'm like, oh, I've had experiences. There was a time when I would see names on billboards and I was like, God, when is it going to be my turn? When is it going to be my turn? What did I do? I be village people as if pursuing me. But I have anointing, at least if it's not again, there's always small. There's I get skill now.
Yeah.
And then it will be like the combination of the oil and the skill should, I mean, I'm seeing those who are not even up to par, and I'm seeing them on billboard. And me, I'm in one cubicle in Abule Egba or somewhere. And I'm like, God, when is it going to be? Those were tough days. I mean, tough seasons. And then I will cry my eyes out because I know the promises. I know the promises, the prophecies that I have been carrying for years. And then year in, year out, I'm like, hey, Olua, when shall it be? When shall it be? Olua, when shall it be? And then when I'm tired of asking Olua, when shall it be? I'm like, let me go find something else to do. Kenny, what? But you see, purpose will not let you be. Okay, Auntie, you gotta stay there, man. You're gonna stay here. There's something that heaven is doing. You're going to stay. So they will inject you with consolation, encouragement. You will encourage yourself after you have cried finish. You have to know you anyway. Olúwa ìwọ náà ló tọ́ sí láti bá gbogbo and then you just continue. What is again? You continue. And I know that this generation, they don't need oh God, you can't do that to people in this generation. When they please excuse Ava. We are doing something immediately. Are looking for something else. But you see,
myself.
exactly.
Not something.
There was a time. Of course, I don't know everybody, and I don't know nobody. I only know man according to the flesh, But there was a time when, of course, I would see colleagues in ministry, and like, oh yeah, they should call me to come and they're not calling. And then one time like that, I just used that to just go and meet one like that who is in, like, I can come and minister in your church on a Sunday if you can, you know. Any, you know, ha, Auntie Mujabasi Kimiesa. And the Lord said to me, never. He has said it to me before then, no way. Don't lobby for platform. Don't ask for someone to come and bring you to me. I'm like, God, if the Bible says ask and it shall be given, not this kind of asking. Baba God, that job, it didn't hard like this. So I went to the there was a seminar that was held, and after that I was like, oh, I can come on the Sunday and then the man started blowing English and grammar, and we have this, we have that, and I was hearing the Holy Spirit say, "Same is often, same is often." It was hard, but there was a moment, there was a season that I needed to stay there and just be quiet. It's rough, it's tough. If anybody tells you that your waiting season is going to be sweet, you don't know. Because in that waiting season, you even be tempted to say, you know what, I'm not even doing again. Maybe it was in the waiting. I said, waiting season. Let me go and learn how to do sewing. And then I went to do sewing. Even the sewing was not bringing anything. I went to do bead making. You know, it's hard. Yes, it's hard. But believe the one. That was the instruction that was given to me. Do not lobby for platform, and I will take you to platform beyond your imagination. It was hard. It was tough. But I like, God help me, because I can't help myself. Let us be true to ourselves. And I'm grateful to God that God has helped me. For years, nobody knew my name now. Even till now, they are still struggling to even know my name because I've not even come. I've not come till day. I'm not yet there. I'm not there. I'm still we are still in the journey. And the truth of the matter is that we never arrive. We never arrive. There are seasons when, you know, God will just show you. So that's why, as whether you're a ministry gift or not, you must understand your seasons, because it's not going to be there all the time, and it's not going to be here all the time. So when you have an understanding of that's what I said earlier, that you must understand your blueprint, you must understand the template, you must understand what has been handed to you in the place of prayer. When you understand these things, let everything be doing around you. There was a time I was praying. Let me just be open and sincere with you. I was praying, and I'm like, Father, I want to be in the experience. I have a 2007 journal. I wrote it gadagashiously there. And then the Lord said to me, Auntie, wait till this one that you're just shouting experience up and down. Okay? If I say till you come back to me, your face is not going to be on any billboard. Will you see me? I said, I'm just a child. I'm just daddy continue to. Because it's like it's as if this thing is more important to you than what I want to do with you. My sister had to like, Father, I'm sorry, but I didn't mean it that way. That's not what I meant, you know. But you know, Daddy, no, you know now. You're not my phone. You're making me leverage. What do you know? You know. Now this is the way I converse with my husband. I don't know about anybody else. So I'm like, Daddy, I didn't mean it that way. And there and then, every desire to want to be seen or every desire to be on a certain platform died. Because I'm like, I won't even trade it for this to me. Because look, the one who calls me, if he says it is some water in one village there that I want you to be showing up every day for the next 5 years, I don't have any choice. That's the calling that we have received. So you must know. You must know. To this day and age, everybody wants to do it by the blueprint of somebody else. You will just kill yourself in the middle of the road. Because there is something that is fueling every man's blueprint. So if you are not getting the blueprint, if you are not, the template is not from the one who called you, you are going to die halfway in the road. Continue, because frustration will kill you. when you see other people climbing and they're happening, and you look like somebody that does not know how to do anything, if you are not strong in your faith, you will want to kill yourself. I'm telling you, because it happened to me. I was on the verge of suicide at some point, because I'm like, okay, if it's not working, then maybe this thing was even a lie from the beginning. Then. But I thank God that I can share my story now, because so what do you want to say? Is it finance? Is it popularity? Is it auntie? It's not in the. Oh yes, of course. In today's age, social media, sensationalism, and all that is good. It has its own place. But mommy, that should not be. It shouldn't be at the detriment of your relationship with God. It shouldn't be at the detriment of the blueprint and template. Go to the book of Exodus. God told Moses specifically this specific measurement. There was a reason. Look at Noah. Build the ark like this. Use this. There is a reason for that. For everyone, whether you're a ministry gift or whatever, there is a specific blueprint and template for your assignment. And for every season, you must go back to refueling. How is it going to be? Because the core of the assignment must be there. So what am I going to tell the people of this age? Man, Nisuru. He's looking like someone that doesn't know. It's really tempting. And I can tell you, you will be like for those who don't hear Yoruba, you'll be like somebody that don't know anything. I mean, somebody has said it. They didn't know that I was there. I had an opportunity to minister somewhere. It was somebody's 50th or so, and then there was a concert, and so I had the opportunity to do it. And so I was sitting in that place, and there were the who is who of music, and then somebody just said something, and didn't know that I was there. And I was just like, Baba Shango, because that was like, who is she? Where is she coming from? Like, it's okay, man. I didn't come here for you. I came to do the.
Can you hear me? I'm not sure if it is Oba's network. Please, if you can hear me, let me know. I'm not sure. I cannot hear Oba again, but I am not sure if it's my network or a network. Okay, Oba just left. Perhaps it is a network. She'll rejoin again because I couldn't hear after a while. Okay. Yes, I just sent a request to. Okay, Oba is back. Thank God. You yet? I don't know why that is. Okay, Colonel, can you hear me? It seems like you can. Please signify in the comments if you can hear me. Let me add Oba. Okay, Oba is back. Well, it was going so. Okay, Colonel says he can hear me. All right, I just wanted to be sure. Yes, I don't. I can. It's showing.
the live. Since I cannot be heard, I really did not want to restart this, but I may have to do that. Can you hear me now? I tried to remove the earpiece. I don't know if you can hear me now. Hello? It's working now. Cornell says that it's working now. We need to check it out. So it means you can hear me now, Cornell, and you can see me. Because Oba was saying that she couldn't see me, so I just wanted to confirm that before confirming with her. Okay, Cornell is working now. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Oba, for your patience and everything. For me, the painful part was even what we're even talking about before.
Don't mind it. Shame for them word. Don't mind him. Just trying to use network to be done a line. Well, let me get this out. Someone needs to hear this and just be delivered from unnecessary bondage of our times, and understand, you know, that when you're with God, when you're working with God, it doesn't matter whether you've been there 20, 100 years. It doesn't matter whether you've been there 3 years. When God says it's time, it's time. And the thing is that you also must understand, you know, times and seasons. You know, it's very, very important. It's very, very important for any ministry gift, for any creatives in these times that we're in. It is very, very important. You know, yesterday at the prayer meeting, I was sharing about, you know, putting on the whole armor of God. And in the old armor, and then, you know, Paul said it twice, you know, in Ephesians chapter 6 from verse 10 to 18. And from verse 10 to that 18, put on your old armor was mentioned twice, you know, because it is in putting on the whole armor that you will be strong in the Lord. When he says, finally, brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might, it's not beings. Being strong in the Lord and in his power of his might means that you're going to face opposition. It's a warfare. You don't even have you have not even been called to the music ministry. You're already fighting already. Not to now say you're in the music space. You know, whether you are singing in church, because there's, as far as music is concerned, there are those who are temple minstrels, that your assignment is to sing in the church. Your assignment is to minister, you know, and there are those who are not good, who are not temple minstrels, that have been called to the field. Those ones will show up in the house of assembly. They will show up in the White House. They will show up in corporate spaces. But there will be the differentiator. What will mark them is the mark of Christ, the emblem, the heart, that these ones have been called. They are soldiers of Christ. They don't need to put the label on. Do you understand? So you know that. So once you understand all that, you know that, mommy, it's a kusibe something. That's what we used to say when we were in the university. You know, we go to the mountain and say we are going to kusibe. In other words, we will not leave this place of praying and just seeking the face of God until there is an answer. That was what Jacob did. You're going to wrestle. So putting on the whole armor. And when Paul was saying put on the whole armor, he now said being watchful, you know, to the end. In what? In perseverance. There's a lot of perseverance. Perseverance is the second degree of patience. We wait, but in waiting, we have to persevere, because there will be severe, you know, drought and famine and whatever that will come. It may not in that literal sense, but the farming of so many things. But God is saying, persevere, just wait. I'm working something. I'm doing something behind the scene. Just wait. So that when the hour of glorification comes, you are not the one that will truncate that assignment. You are not going to use your, you did not wait enough to go and truncate that. So for some of us, God is doing extra work so that your flesh is killed. Everything about you he dies. And Paul was saying, I die daily. because you can't carry it. Charisma is not enough. It's not enough. You know, but the strength of character, being a private success and a public success at the same time. You can't be a public success and a private failure. No. It does not serve the purpose of God. So that the man of God is thoroughly furnished. There's going to be a thorough walking, and that walking does not come once. It's a journey. It's so it's an evolution. So like peeling. Some things are being peeled off, so that when you get into a season of your life, there is a schooling that you have received that makes you to reason way more than your age, because you have gone through stuff. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord.
Thank you for the fine finishing to that question. It was worth it. Thank you so much. I would like to please share with us and ministers watching how you prepare for ministration. How do you prepare for your ministration? Because they are so powerful. And this is not a courteous saying that people try to say when they are in front of a person, oh, it's so powerful. No, you really need to listen to Oba's music. And that's why I like that you said you're not a praise and worship singer. You're really at the soul. Like, okay, I think I paused for a while. I was
come against any network in the name of Jesus. Network, you better behave yourself. This is last lap. I will wound you, network. Go on.
Thank you so much. So I was saying that at the soul, you were saying that you're like a jazz soul music, and it comes out in all of your music, at least the ministrations as well. It is different, basically. So we'd like to know how you prepare for your ministration. Cornelia says she's a testimony. Absolutely, absolutely. Whatever the song, she's singing, and there's just that difference. So I'd like to know how you prepare for your ministration.
That means not lie to you. I don't have a formula. I 6 hours come. I don't have a formula. But one thing I know, like I said, I'm always, if you notice, I'm referring to templates and blueprints. One thing I know is once there is administration before me, if it's 30 minutes or 1 hour, as the Lord will give me, like I have administration this evening now, and I've just been laid back all morning because it's like that. So I'll just be laid back and I just want to pick things. When he wants me to really warfare, then I will know that it will be obvious. When he wants me to just chill and just sleep, I will sleep. If it's just to sit down, watch TV before I go for that ministration, I'm telling you my own truth. Don't I walk my say that I'm in the one room and lock myself. The work is with. But in all of it, there is a sense of consecration that whether I have ministration or not, it's there. So the inbuilt of you have a system of fasting and praying. You have a system of studying the word. You have a system. So those things are in place, whether you have ministration or not. So I by the grace of God, I have those that kind of system and structure in place. I hardly go out. So when I'm indoor. I won't even step outside. Because whether I'm on stage or off stage, I must steward God's presence anyhow. So how do I prepare? I'm always preparing. The scripture say be prepared, and watch and pray. So it's not when I have a major administration, then I want to come and do 24 hours prayer. Wọ́n wá ní gbàwẹ̀ wọ́n àgbà tí wọ́n á dẹ̀ ní má gbàwẹ̀ ọmọ mò ń jẹun lọ ni èmi kọ́ ló fẹ́ ṣiṣẹ́. I'm not the one that wants to do the work. It's God that wants to do the work. Now that does not mean that I live it frivolously. That's why I said whether there is ministration or not, there is a system in place to steward the consecration. Place of studying, giving yourself to studying the word, the place of giving yourself to praying and intensely praying. I'm an intercessor. So praying, 1 hour daily, praying, it has been put in my system. It's a structure. It was intentional. So as mistress, you must put it there. You must have a system of stewarding that consecration that you have been given. So that whether they call you to come and minister, or because there'll be days when you will be out there and there's not enough time to be praying. So the thing that the bed shop is what the bed is going to use to fly. So it is what has been wired into your system, what you have built yourself. The Bible said those who by reason of use have their senses exercised. So there is an exercising of your senses, and that's what I'm teaching the next generation. I'm raising, mentoring the next set of music ministers, and then it's going to be whatever is going to go public soon. So there is a schooling. There is a schooling, all of these things. So it's not just to hold your mic and go downstairs and say, praise the Lord. And then, there is a schooling, there is a system that you put in place. So whether you are on stage or off stage, you are able to steward what has been given to you. And your consecration. I keep saying that you must know the blueprint, you must know the DNA, you must know that thing that has your name on it, that the Spirit has endowed you with, that is your own. So you're not using somebody else's, you're not using Tokwe Alabizo, you're not using Bukola Beke's. That is your own. Your armory is intact, your sword has been sharpened, and you know what the Spirit has given you, the workings of the Spirit that is peculiar to you. When you know how to steward that, whether you're on stage or not, because there will be days. I can remember for the last 12 years, people have been showing up in a particular place for the last 12 years, every Monday morning. Every Monday morning for the last 12 years of my life. And I show up there and I steward, just do praise and worship and leave the place. Let them flow in worship and then leave. 12 years counting. Now, people in those big places may not know me, but there are people who know. So you must know. You may not be on the world stage, but where they put you, you must see what it is as if your life depends on it, because your life actually depends on it. So it's not until you say, when I get to the big stage, then I will know whatever you do now with the little that you have been given, it's going to be replicated. It's what you will do when you get to the big stage. So, and who gets the stage anyway? Which one is big stage and which one is small stage? So when you remove your consciousness, every stage that God brings to you is big, whether it's 2 people that is in front of you or 2 million. So when you have that understanding, nothing moves you. Like Paul will say, none of these things move me. I've got to that place. If you call me, praise the Lord. It's God that is calling you to call me. So yes. And sing, if you don't call me in 1 year, I say it without missing word, and I say it because your body talk about that. Everybody, if you are convinced, let me now say that when you are thoroughly convinced of who you are, if I don't step on stage for 1 year, it doesn't make me less what God has called me. So you must know that. You must know that. Someone saying, I want to read what this young man says. Yes. Hey, sorry.
No problem, ma.
Powell is writing something. It says,
yes,
Cornell, truly, people will know if you function where you are. After leading worship on Sunday, a man came to squeeze money in my hand, and I honestly didn't have. You see, the one who calls you, who makes your calling an election show, knows everything you need. Come on. So once you know that, I settled it, and thank God for the kind of husband that God has given me. That's my truth serum. So once my head is not trying to be correct, the uncle will just say, Auntie, wake up, wake up. What do you? So I just adjust myself. That's why you must have support systems that will not lie to you. That will not tell you that that nothing was wrong. They will slap sense into your head. Where Auntie, you want to be yawing like Eli, you want to be drawing like Eli. What's doing? So you will wake. So you can't afford to be a lone ranger even in this thing. So you must know those, not the one that will say, all hail Corner. And then I just,
Yeah.
you must have that. Those people who say, Auntie, you don't they goof for what's doing you? Because they don't
Well, exactly. Yes.
let you. So I pray this prayer every time. Lord, let my head be correct and let my heart be right. Let my head, no matter how, Lord, just keep me simple. I just want to remain this small child of God. Please, Lord, because there is a thin line. And so once you understand, so back to the prayer, how do you prepare? Whether you are called or not, whether they have invitation or you don't have an invitation, as a minister, as a minstrel, as a ministry gift or whatever, it doesn't even apply to ministry gift alone. You must have a system already in place to steward the grace that you have been given. You must have this in place. So once you have that in place, you show up you are going to show up on behalf of God, not on behalf of you. So whether you pray or you fast, it's for your own good. It does not, your prayer, your fasting is not affecting God, it's you. So that your channel, just like that songwriter, channel of my spirit, open up. Those exercises are for the channels of our spirit to open up, so that we can align, we can partner with God to bring it his intention to bear at that point in time. So my prayer will be, Lord, what would you want me to do when I get there? That's why I don't have a repertoire. Okay, when I sing this one, they will now sing this one. People like, Because the day I realized that we would have rehearsed with my team, we would have rehearsed 3 hours. We now get there now. The owner of the show will now say, go like this. And then it's happening once. I said, okay, once, twice, thrice. I said, hey people, they are telling us something that we are not knowing you. So we will now say, okay, you know what? We will try, we will prepare, okay, because as soldiers we must prepare. But then because we are not, we are just conduit. Father, whatever you want to do it, Lord. So I'm not saying, this song is the one that is, I must sing it. You want to go and show yourself? Is it you that they want to see as God? So we are just opportuned as to be tapped through which the water want to go. So the tap is not struggling to say, this is the kind of way I want this water to go out. No. You cannot be struggling with the source. You are just an instrument. This tap must come like this. When the tap is like this, and you're saying, no, this way, the water must be gushing out like fountain. And God said, I want it to come this way. You have an understanding that you're a vessel. You will give yourself to the schooling of the Holy Spirit that is peculiar to you. There is what is common to all, and then there is what that has been tailored for you and your assignment. Praise God.
Wow.
God.
We need water to wash it down.
We give God glory.
I'm excited that we're having this conversation, and it's going to be on record, and more people can continue to watch it. Thank you so much. So we're already in about 15 minutes more. We're wrapping up. I would like you to please just share. So I'll ask 2 in 1 questions now. So the first part is, please share with me the part of mentorship in your own life, what mentorship means, what it doesn't mean, just in this music journey. So a person who wants to start out, what should be the first step the person should do in terms of the mentorship line now? Because you've already shared lots in terms of personal. So there have been talks about people being abused by mentors. So therefore, in this generation, it seems to be that people they're not even interested. They don't. I don't want anybody to go and abuse me. So I'd like you to please speak on that, and also balancing ministry and marriage. Well, I don't want to use the word balancing. I mean, thriving with ministry and marriage. It does not look like one destroying another. Thriving in ministry and marriage.
Some people shall want to show in this movie. They shall want. They will show themselves.
Thank you for featuring in our video.
Okay. The role of mentorship or mentoring is very, very important. Even not for music people, for every person. I mean, and we can see that, we can see example of that in the scriptures. Moses had a Jethro as a mentor. Joshua had a Moses as a mentor. Elisha had an Elijah as a mentor. What's her name? Even Mary, the mother of Jesus, had an Elizabeth, so to speak, as a mentor, coach, like that. Now, the mentoring relationship is a very sensitive one. That is why the mentor and the mentee must not be, permit me to use the word, weaklings in their inner formation, so to speak. What do I mean by that? For someone who is seeking to be mentored, you must excuse me, now you're not overdoing it now. Do. For someone who is looking for a mentor, number one, what is the reason why you're looking for a mentor? Because these days now, people want to just lemon superstar or celebrity in the name of...
Let me DM her or whatever. It's true. Yeah, sometimes no direction. This person is the one that is trendy. Let me run there.
Oh, is this person now? So they begin to call mama, they begin to call papa, they begin to call all of that. But what is behind that is selfish. What is behind that is not pure. And the person who is also calling someone is mentee or a mentee. It's not that you now want to begin to be a mentor to them. Then you want to wash plate for you, do this one for you. There's a balance. There must be a definition. A mentor is someone who handholds somebody else. Is trying to show the way to someone, show the way for someone to go. You have been there before, and so someone is saying, "You've been there before. I'm just walking this path. Can you show me the way?" Now, the experiences may differ because as our faces are different, so varies the things we go through, but there's a similarity. So you're not going to push your own template down the throat of the mentee. You must do it like that because it may not work. But there are universal principles that works. And so those are the principles you want to hand down. That's what is called legacy leadership. You want to hand down. You're not spoon feeding because a lot of people want to be spoon fed. A lot of people want mentors to pray for them, help them fast. Until you will carry your cross, carry cross. You say will carry your own. So that when the thing is becoming heavy for you, then there'll be a Joseph of Arimathea.
Yes, is the word. Yes.
Because sometimes you may not be able to carry it. So they come around. The bottom line is, what is your motive for going to pursue that person to be your mentor? And if you say, I'm your mentor, all the resources I have, you are not, you don't have access to it. So what am I meant to? You're not reading my book. You're not, because that's how you will connect with the wisdom and the things I've gone through, the mistakes I've made. That's how you're going to connect. I have mentors who have been even outside of the music ministry for years. My first mentor was Dr. Miles Muro, as far as music ministry, public speaking, and transformational leadership was concerned. Dr. Miles Muro was the first person I saw expressing those dimensions that I saw myself. And immediately I saw it, I just went after him. How? I bought all his books, at least the ones I can buy at that time. And I sat, and they're still serving me to today. Then John Maxwell, because, I've always, when you say transformational leadership, my dad taught me that while I was growing up. And so I saw John Maxwell as and then being a Christian and a pastor way back then, I just latched on and I began to say, these people will not leave. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. So I began to learn from their mistakes and everything. Now, they are not within my reach. That's why you can have mentors that are not within your reach and still benefit from them. Then I began to now, okay, when you say music mentors, if I begin to mention them, they say this auntie is not born again. But that's the opinion. Because those that were my music mentors, if I mention them now, well, I will not, for the sake of somebody, I will not mention.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, music is universal. So I listen to a wide range of music, even up till now.
Yes.
I listen to a wide range of music. So I'm not streamlining myself because music is not streamlined. And so I learn. Angelique Kidjo till tomorrow. Just seeing her on stage alone. That at stage, whatever alone. The way she just auntie Dagbake, and the way that she can still, that's one thing, that's me. It may not be for someone else.
Someone else, yes.
So you know, my first Christian music mentor will be Olufumi. That one, and I was under a direct tutelage for about 2.5 years. I was in a band, I was, you know, so everything, and that has rubbed off on me. I'm talking about, you know, mentors that are within your reach and those that are without your reach and how you can reach them. So you are the one that knows what you're looking for. And it's not that because you want to just curry favor or you want to be, and let them know that I know this person. So you just be doing licking book, be doing mama, papa, the thing that did not enter your inside. So, and for this generation that just want the paparazzi and the rosy, God will help us in Jesus' name. Amen. So,
yes, you've answered. So, what are the second part of the question? Thriving through marriage and ministry.
My son is looking at me with one eye for my papa. The harmony, I will call it harmony.
Or family life, children as well.
Yes, for me, thank God that my Oga and I were in the same field, and from the earliest part of my assignment, you know, my husband played a major role, and he's still playing a major role, even right now, even though he's not in the forefront, so to speak, like he used to be when we were, you know, growing up and all that, you know, because in someone's vision, you also find your vision. That's one thing I have learned, that, you know, when and that's also part of the mentor-mentee relationship. Sometimes in someone else's vision, you find yours. I have had to submit to mentors who were not even music ministers, but then in submitting and just, you know, being of, I just want to serve. I have latched on visions that have expanded, you know, the assignment that God has given unto me. So into marriage and ministry, being married to someone who is also in the music space made it a bit easier. And then so as we began the journey and children began to come in, we had to school our children. So once upon a time, when there's administration, all of us are going because we don't have nanny to put the children anywhere. So they go because they see everything, and so they have been indoctrinated into that system of our ministry itinerary, so to speak. Now that they are much older, you know, my firstborn is almost 19, you know, and they're much older now. And then there's a little the little lad, so I can go anywhere and not be stressing that who will take care of, because everybody has been able to understand that these people have assignment too. So sometimes you will see them at home. So that has been, by the grace of God, has been put in place so that even the home front is not what's it called now? It's not disadvantaged. So when I'm at home, we're gisting together, playing up and down, laughing and all the rest of it. And then when we have to go and do what we need to do, they know. So and there's a system that has been put in place so that you're not, your heart is not aching when you're doing the Father's work in the field. They want, you need a little today, you know, that kind of a thing, because everybody knows that they have an assignment, and all joint is supplying. So if you fail to put your input, it will tell in the overall result. And so because we don't want there to be lapses in the overall result, all joints must supply, all of us must say, how do I contribute to the betterment of this? That is what has helped me, and that is what is still helping me till today. Okay. So I believe that everybody who is in ministry must know that your first place of assignment, your first ministry is your home. If you are married, it's your home. So because your home will reflect everything else. So if it is in disarray, it will be obvious, it will be seen, you know. But if it is in harmony, it will be seen, because you will not be able to do the work of the Father with a little bit of peace of mind, knowing that, you have done, you are doing your best in the home front. If you are not yet married or you're in the courtship, shine your eye. Shine your eye. I will say it again. Shine your eye. Whether you're a man or a woman, open your eyes. Don't let what you can see deceive you. Test. The Bible said, test us, test everything, test it, because there will be signs. Because you are doing lovingitis, you'll be covering the sign. Then when you not get married, now the thing will not come and explode in your face. Be in a rush. If you're seeing red flags, chill. It's better to chill and wait than to come and carry the egungun of another egungun. The thing will be shocking you. You cannot swallow it. You cannot spit it out. So, if you are not yet married, wait on God. There is a helpmate for the assignment. Helpmate, and I'm grateful. Almost 20 years down the line, I have no reason to regret, because my husband is in the pillar behind my back after Jesus. So because he gives me the wings to fly. It says. And so when I'm not getting it, like I said, he puts sense into my head, auntie, wake up. Tells me my husband is my number one cheerleader. Yeah, auntie, when last did you practice? Oh, yesterday we were sitting. Yeah, I have to go and get a teacher now for a particular aspect of my assignment. Okay. Get this teacher, be paying per week. That's how you're going to get the best from this teacher. And so, so we're both cheering one another up to be the best that God wants each of us to be. Because apart from the joint work, we are also running our individual race. He has his own individual ministry that he's doing. He's doing his, and but then the combined assignment that he put us to do in this family, we must be able to steward it well so that his name is glorified. And so if you are having challenges, instead of it to be proving he does not believe in the Jesus, is a tongue in my flesh. Auntie, sit down and wait. Maybe you're not doing some things right. Because God is not the author of confusion. That I say all the time. God is not the author of confusion. And there is no issue that cannot be resolved when you decide to sit down and look at it from God's angle. Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah. We have about 3 final questions to ask you before your rapid fire question.
This job question is not
we just have to know your opportunity.
I know someone is blessed this afternoon, morning.
And many more will even be blessed by the replay. Well, because we're going to distribute it across different platforms so that people can see beyond Instagram. Thank you so much. Okay, so let me okay, this one is not really, you may not just really settle on it, but we just want to know how you met your husband. So that's a bold question. It's not part of the script. We just want to know how you met your husband. Was it in school?
Okay.
It's this question according to the script.
Okay, no problem. Okay, my husband, I met him in the church. I got born, like I said earlier, I got born again on campus. So when I came back to Lagos, I had to change my church so that I could grow in the teaching of the new creation teachings and all that. So I changed church, my parents allowed me to change church, so I started going to another church, and so it was a drama in that church, and so of course I joined the choir, but we were not. I didn't even see him, even though you were saying for me, I didn't see anybody. You know, as tomboy concerned. Tomboy is still me. I was still doing bouncing castle up and down. I'll be bouncing, wear tattered jeans and with my heavy boots. That one more day, see what you can wear. You know, I just be bouncing. I'm bouncing up and down, do choir rehearsal, I go back home. I wasn't, you know, and then and then somewhere somehow it was away from church, you know, stayed in Ghana for a while. I was in the university and then in 2000 I went back to church, then saw him. They said somebody has been looking for me, but I'm like, oh, looking for me. Our pastor. And okay, he introduced me. That was how he introduced me to my mentor, my first music mentor, physical music mentor, which Olufumi. And so I joined Olufumi's team through my husband, who was a friend at that time. And then, you know, and then of course, you know how they say it's one thing led to the other. But the guy couldn't toast now. He's just one of those people that cannot toast. But just saying, auntie, if you make up your mind, bros, that's what they toast for now.
Give me up.
But it's the truth, you know. Meanwhile, before that time, I went back to school and I was praying. I was saying, Father, ọjọ́ tí ń lọ ní Paul wí, mo mà ti ń dàgbà náà, and nobody is saying, Auntie báwo lọ́wọ́ yín, how is he doing you? Nobody said, God, this people they, you know. But then I prayed and I left school. I came back and then I saw him again. You know, after the Olufumi, whatever, I saw him again. And then there was a Noah in my belly because I had told God, you know, when I left Adoekiti, that Lord, let me see what is it that you're saying in this area. So I saw him and I saw the brother walking past, and then me, I was walking this way. And that thing clicked. I was like, Allah, what's that? I reject it. Oh, God, if it's a joke, just stop it. Because he wasn't looking like it. It was not, and I'm serious. If you read my book, you will see that I was like, God, if this is a joke, please just stop. What's that? Big brother. I mean, you know how they say, I don't know if you what's that? You have rated the person finish, okay? But God, I thank God that I did not use someone else to truncate my own assignment. You know, and that's why you have to be sure. That's why you have.
Can we? I think Connell is still on Discord. Connell, please, can you hear me? Because I'm not sure. It seems I can't hear Oba again. Well, Connell, please confirm if you can hear me. I think she will just join again. We're actually already in the concluding part of this. But if you can hear me, please just signify so I'll know. I need to know if it's my network or Oba's network, just so that we get on with it. Okay. Thank you, Connell. Connell says he can hear me. All right. I think it was just Oba's network, but she's back now. On the concluding part. Yeah, we're just seeing. Okay, you can hear me. Thank you so much, Melody's Heaven. Yeah, she left. She had to because her network is showing black. She definitely. She'll join again. Just a few minutes at the end, really, because we are done. We're pretty much done. If not because of the other interruptions, we would have also even finished up the conversation by now. It's because of the other network interruptions in between. All right, I'm sure she'll just try to check through her network. Okay, I've added her, but she hasn't joined in yet. Let me add her again. Okay, she's not joining, so she needs to leave and join in again. Okay, so I think let me cancel this request so that she can send me a request, since my own is not going through. So much. This is going to be available on YouTube, SAGENEL TV. Okay, Oba is not here yet. She'll join us shortly. Because YouTube is a wider audience, it's a wider platform, so that more people can get to learn about this story. I'm sure Oba will join in. I can see Cornell on the call. Let me check if she's sending me a message. But I'm sure it's just it's a network thing. What was going on with our network earlier on? That's all. Okay, so let's see. Let me find out what is going on. Yes, okay, good, fantastic. I'm just trying to check in with Oba. Okay, trying to check in with her. Sending me a message now. Okay, is she here? Okay. It is raining. It started to rain. I will try to amplify my voice so that it doesn't get so distracting. But we're pretty much done. Okay, okay. Oh, the rain is affecting our network. So we may just need to close out. I think that will solve it. The next time she comes in, we will just maybe ask one last question and close out. I think that will solve it. For every other thing, Oba has shared a whole lot, so you can always watch. You can always watch the early part of this conversation. Okay, even at this point, even if I don't see you, even if I can hear you, we'll just conclude.
Your voice is going to hear me. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you see me?
Okay. Oh, I couldn't see you at first, but I can hear you. I can both.
Okay.
I can see you and hear you. Yes, it's raining. It's raining.
This is open now. Before this thing come and mess up again. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. Let's shoot.
Yeah. Okay, so I will just say, I just want to ask the final question so we can close out. So far, what are the lessons you have? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, let me just go on. What are the lessons you have learned so far on your journey? And if you could share 3 lessons you've learned so far and you would like to just share as we close out from this interview.
Okay. So the lessons I've learned in my 20-something years and still counting is number 1, be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. Be true to thy own self. that is the beginning of your transformation. Okay, that's the beginning of your transformation. When you're true to yourself, when you know who you are, you know why you are, you know the reason. So when you know yourself, you stop. You cannot. You won't compare yourself with anybody, but you will just run your own race and run your assignment peculiar to you. Now, it doesn't mean that you'll be a lone ranger. What it means is that you will know your own. Your tribe will be able to seek you out because you are working and operating from the place of your own true identity. If you're not true to yourself, be able to attract the tribe that you have been called to reach out to. So when you are true to yourself, your tribe will towards you. Your people will gravitate towards you, and they will gravitate towards your message. So number one is know who you are, your identity, your sense of identity is very, very important. Number two, your sense of destiny. You are here for a purpose. You're not here to have to be numbered. You're here for a purpose. And so it will be wise for you to understand what your purpose is and begin to run with it. Number three, there is nothing that you can do outside of God. There is nothing that you can do outside of God. There is absolutely nothing. So once you realize that, even to the minute decision making, make Jesus the front, the middle, the ending, the back side, the left side. Let Jesus be the center of everything you do, and it won't be stress-free, but you will be able to journey through life with strength and confidence without being tossed here and there. Yes.
Okay. Wow, that is. Yes, I can hear you. I can still hear you. And that's the most important. Okay. That is a powerful ending, Ma. Ma, we like to end with a rapid fire question. It's just a fun section of the interview where we just get to know a bit more about you. So you're supposed to just answer the question under 30 seconds. You're not supposed to overthink the answer. So yeah, the first question is, what is your favorite color?
Oh, purple and gold. Anywhere, purple and gold. That's my color. That's my emblem.
Okay. What is your favorite food?
I don't have a favorite food. Bread and tea.
Oh my God. Okay. Bread and tea, all right.
Seriously, I've been taking bread and tea almost every day since 2017.
Okay. Wow. Okay, what are you allergic to?
Allergy. I don't.
Okay. What is your best movie?
I don't have best movie. I watch K-drama. I'm a K-drama somebody, and I've watched all the K-drama you can do. I'm a Korean drama person, so I think that's my best Korean movie.
Korean. Yeah, drama series are interesting. Okay, what is your best book?
Because I'm an avid reader, I don't have Holy Ghost. I love books. Maybe say my best author. So because I don't have a best book, my book mirrors. I don't have a best book because I have a lot of people I read.
Okay. If you weren't giving birth to in Nigeria, where would you have liked to be giving birth into? What country?
Maybe Korea.
Sorry, I didn't get.
I said maybe Korea.
Okay.
It used to be Latino. It used to be Latin American country, but now I think I think I'm falling in love with Korean.
All
That's
right.
what
Gold or silver?
gold. Okay, gold.
Good. Okay, black or white?
Black or white? White.
Yes, black or white.
White. White.
Yellow or pink? Yellow or pink?
Yellow.
What is one favorite thing about your husband?
One favorite thing about my husband is his dancing step. Yeah, my husband doesn't know how to dance. So when he dances, I like to watch his. I like to watch him make effort. And so yeah, his dance moves. Yes.
Okay. What is your favorite attire to wear?
Favorite attire to wear? Short
Yes.
trouser and top.
Okay. What is
Trouser
your
and top.
favorite thing? Well, okay. What is your favorite thing to do?
Favorite things to do. Oh, I love to research. I love studying. I do that a lot. I'm researching online, I'm writing. Yeah, that's my favorite thing to do. Apart from singing and teaching. Oh, I love auntie, I have many favorite things to do. I love to teach. I love to teach.
Yeah.
I love to research. At my core, I'm researching. I love to write. So I don't want to write. Yeah.
Okay. What do you like to do for fun?
Watch kids.
I'm not sure that I got that. Please come again. What did you say?
I said watch K-drama. Watch Korean drama.
Oh, okay, drama. All right. What is small chops or jollof rice?
Jollof rice meal.
Fruits or vegetable?
Veggies.
Okay. Would you rather take a train or would you rather take the ship? Train or ship?
Train, my better. Train.
Bus or an airplane? A bus or an airplane?
Airplane.
Right? Writing or speaking?
Both.
Okay. Rain or sunshine? Rain, sunshine.
Both to me, no. I like both.
You're not supposed to pick one, though. Okay, audio or visual? Yes, you're just supposed to pick one. That's the essence of the this or that question.
Some of them. Audio or what?
No, I say audio or visual. How do you like to prepare to learn? Audio or visual?
Oh, I think I like visual. Yeah, visual.
Okay. A day at the beach or a day at the beach or a day in one of your favorite restaurants, which one would you pick?
A day at the favorite restaurant. I like food.
If you had the opportunity and the chance to, what is one thing you would like to see changed in Nigeria? Just
I would like to see a perception of how musicians are seen and in the church. The way musicians are seen and perceived, yes, in the church and even in the perception, yes. And then sequel to that, I would like to see more knowledge. I think there's a knowledge gap in that space as well. I would like to see a situation where a lot of our creatives are equipped with the right tools to navigate their creativity. Yes.
Okay. Fantastic. And finally, what would you like to be remembered for?
I would like to be remembered for the impact, and yes, the impacts made on the mountain of music, media, and entertainment in Nigeria and in the African states. Yes, I would like to be remembered as the music icon who changed the narrative. Yes, of music and yeah, music education. Yes, that's
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Oba. What are things we should look out for? What are some things we should look out for and expect on the journey ahead? What are some things we should look out for and expect?
okay. I'm working, doing a little bit of some behind the scenes. You'll begin to get to see them. For those who have been waiting for my music, keep your fingers crossed. And for those who have not really had the opportunity to get hold of my old music, everything is coming back again. Yes, we are in a season of coming back. Yes, and in full force. So watch out. Old music and new stuff coming out, and yes, a lot of teachings, a lot of trainings, a lot of that. The MedMan program is coming out in full force. So those who want to be mentored, by me in close proximity, have the chance to do that. So watch out for that as well. Yes, a lot of beautiful things are coming out that will benefit creatives in the music, art, and entertainment space within the church and outside of the church. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Oba, for your time today, for just nourishing us with so much wisdom. We're really grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And of course, if you're watching, please do help to share, subscribe, share your comments and questions as well. We've learned a lot from Oba.